Hi and welcome back to Cheeky Crypto. Today guys, we are going to be jumping down into the charts to take a look at Cardano and the price action of ADA. As I get into this video, if you find it useful and informative, hit the like button. I really do appreciate that. If you happen to be new to the channel, why not go ahead and subscribe, tap the bell, select all notifications, and in doing so you will be kept up to date with everything that we do here at Cheeky Crypto. If you haven't yet joined us in Discord, links in the description down below. Fantastic community talking crypto 24/7. It's completely free. I don't think you'll be disappointed by what you find down there, so why not check it out and let me know what you think in the comments down below. Right, let's jump right into this then. So Cardano's ADA paired up with USDT. We're on the hourly chart. Binance is our data source, and yeah, let's just kind of go through the structure a little bit, because obviously we failed to have that impulsive structure on the daily chart, and effectively we actually ended this one just here. It basically makes it an ABC move rather than a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. Then we also got into corrective patterns, and what's really interesting about this essentially is that we have 3 waves come down. Then we have this move up here. This is basically a 5-3-5, so again another ABC. Then you've got this complex kind of move here, which was taking the form of a 4th wave, but then obviously validated that by having this pullback down here, which again is a 3-3-5. Then we moved up with 3 waves, and now we're getting 5 waves back down again. So essentially we've got another 3-3-5 on a larger scale here, and it's really quite interesting. We've got these corrective patterns stacking up against each other. This would basically make a triple correction. So what we want to do is we want to kind of get into this a little bit more detail. So if we come into here, right, we're going to jump into this move. So if I just measure the distance on this drop, and then we move it over to this high point, which is clear resistance right on top of this line at about $1.21.9. We can see that we basically come impulsive at this point here, and we want to also pay attention, I guess, to the subwave counts on this, because there's a couple of different ways you can look at it. Okay, I'm going to try to draw it out the way that I think is actually going to play out first, which is basically this is a 1-2, and then this here, all of this is a wave 3, then this here is a wave 4. And then potentially we come down into a wave 5. Okay. Now, obviously, with that, we'd have to make sure that we have sub wave count in here that would make sense as well. So we'd have to take it from this point to here. That's 1 and 2. Then you drop down to here, which is 3. That's 4, and that potentially be 5. Then it throws this little bit out here, which means that ultimately that could be wave 4. That could be wave 5. Sorry, that could be wave 3. That could be wave 4, and this down here would be our wave 5, right? And again, that wave count would also work. Now, if I jump into this and I measure the distance on our 5th wave to the high of the 5th wave, it perfectly reaches the requirements for a 5th wave. So we'll leave it like that, but what's throwing me is this pattern here, because essentially this could go down or it could come up, obviously. But if we follow it from the kind of logic of what we would expect, we'd have essentially this is an A wave, this is our B wave, and we still haven't come up higher. Now we've gone higher than our A just here, but we've actually just traded sideways. And if I measure the distance on this, I grab it from the high point here to the low point down there, transpose it over to the low point of our B wave, and our C wave should come to about $1.18.8, right? Now, for the most part, you think, okay, cool. And then you bring the stochastic RSI into play. Now, the stochastic RSI is showing that we need to have a correction. This is basically saying that we're likely to pull back down, okay? And therefore, it doesn't really align to our thinking of a 1-to-1 ratio for a C wave. Which basically kind of led me to thinking, is this actually a 4th wave correction, and are we actually going to come down lower into a 5th wave, and maybe our 5th wave has to drop down lower than maybe we were expecting? It's a possibility. So I'm just going to throw it out there. I'm not going to move the waves around just yet until we know for certain. There is going to be some kind of pullback that comes in here based on this stochastic RSI that needs a correction on our hourly chart. Now, because it's just the hourly, it could be pretty good to kind of see a bit of a push up first. It would be good to actually just go up and stay overbought whilst we maybe take this 4-hourly stochastic RSI up to $1.18. That would be allowing us to go overbought on the hourly, overbought on the 4-hourly, and move up into our C wave high as expected. So there's always that as an option as well. Now, the 8-hour is oversold or just coming out of the oversold area. The daily's coming back up from the oversold area, and the weekly's overbought, right? So whatever happens next here in these corrective plays for Cardano, it isn't going to be major. It should be pretty decent moves upwards based on the daily stochastic, but there will be some kind of pullback back down into the lower ranges to correct the weekly stochastic RSI. Okay, so what do we think is going to happen? Well, we've got a pullback that's going to happen here. So we're either going to push up first and then pull back, or we're going to basically say that that little candle wick right there is our C wave, and we're just going to pull back down, okay, and everything is fair game again. And now it doesn't mean that we are not going to go down lower than this if that is our fifth wave. It essentially just means that we're corrective now, okay, and not trend based. Now, if we've had 5 waves here, which we think is a 335, that is a correction in itself. This is 3 waves, okay, going up, and then we'll be looking for potentially 3 waves coming down, okay, with 3 or 5 to be fair. Okay, and then from there we'll obviously know exactly what we should be expecting to happen next. It's either going to be a 335 or 333 or a 353. Okay, so right now we kind of have an idea that it's going to be some kind of corrective pattern in the middle here. It's going to be going down. The direction of this is down. Okay, and we just want to see whether it's a 3-wave count or a 5-wave count, okay, because that will determine what the next level of the move up is going to be. Is it going to be 5 waves up? Is it going to be 3 waves up, and so forth? And essentially that would then complete that corrective move. Now we're actually moving this stochastic RSI in a pretty decent way without actually doing too much price damage, which isn't too bad for Cardano. So for now, it seems that the majority of the damage has been done, and therefore we're kind of coming to a bit of a bottom, specifically on the daily chart and the 8-hourly stochastic RSI. So essentially, you know, we've taken the ride down here. There's no point in kind of selling the bottom, if you will. There's going to be some kind of relief bounce, and obviously then you'll have a look and you'll say, okay, well, maybe there's a little bit more downside, and maybe that's the opportunity to sell and rebuy and do whatever your kind of strategy is. Obviously, I'm not a financial advisor. I cannot offer you financial advice. What I can do is tell you kind of different kind of things that I would personally be thinking about doing, which would be obviously, you know, the very standard, typical thing that, you know, I think we all intrinsically know, which is sell high and buy low, right? It's easier said than done, though. You'll find that there's a lot of emotions in the space, and trying to time the market is incredibly difficult. So instead, you just kind of, you know, find good areas where you can think things are going to reverse, and then take advantage of the next kind of dip, if you will, and make sure you kind of dollar cost average. All that kind of stuff is the kind of things that we tend to do here at Cheeky Crypto. So, you know, we buy, sell, we do short-term trades, and of course we dollar cost average and to the best of our ability, and to make sure that we lower our average costs on these cryptocurrencies. Now, for the most part, for us, you know, we were in kind of crypto back in 2020, so, you know, dollar cost averaging at these prices actually just hurts our average price overall. So we don't tend to do too much of that these days, specifically in these later stages of the bull run. Now, if I come back up into the daily chart, we can see, you know, what I'm trying to plot here, which is unfortunately not this, because we didn't actually have our impulsive move. We'd failed to kind of hit that. It is still possible that all of this is some kind of weird, complex 4th wave correction, but I don't think that's necessarily the case. So what I'll do is I'll lower this wave 1 down here, because it is still possible that this does become a wave 1 with this as a wave 2. Now, the wave 2 should be a little bit deeper than what we've seen so far, so it's an interesting kind of play, but again, we could potentially surge up a little bit higher. And as I said, you know, it would be unusual, but all of this still could be our 4th wave, and we still have that 5th wave to come, making this wave 1 actually a 5-wave count. Then we have that weekly drop that I spoke about, that bringing us down to about 50% of the move. Then we have that wave 3 and so forth, right? So it's still technically possible, but, you know, it's a bit too soon to necessarily say 100%, but it would look something like this: wave 1, wave 2, wave 3, hump here. And again, there would be 5 sub-wave in here, so you'd have essentially wave 1, wave 2, wave 3, wave 4, wave 5. Then you would have your 4th wave, which is basically an ABC, and then we move on up into a 5th wave higher. Okay, so it's still very possible that we have that. Then we pull back down into a deep 2nd wave correction, and then we push up into our 3rd wave, 4th wave, 5th wave. And as I come up into our weekly chart, okay, all of that, all those 5 waves that I've just spoken about would essentially be potentially just a single wave here on our weekly chart. Then there'll be a pullback, then there'll be another surge, and there'll be a pullback, then there'll be another surge, right? So that's kind of how you kind of plot out what's going on here. To put this into scale, we can see obviously what happened previously with these very similar moves, obviously from the lows of March 2020 all the way up to the highs, and so forth, right? And we can see here that we actually have that exact kind of thing playing out here: wave 1, wave 2, wave 3 being the biggest one, wave 4, wave 5, right? Right inside there. And then we had the expanding flat correction. Again, we could argue that that's all fourth wave, and then that is our fifth wave higher within our third wave. We could also articulate that as well, but I think the expanding flat fits better with our ABC move of our fourth wave, because the fourth wave should be complex because wave 2 was so simple, right? So we have the expanding flat, and then we get into this next move upwards. Okay, so from a structural point of view, it's actually looking okay. There's a lot of stuff going on overall, specifically on the lower time frames. But if we're ever in doubt, zoom out, pay attention to what's going on with the weekly chart. There's some pretty good stuff going on here, and this fifth wave could be pretty good. I mean, it's not by any stretch of the imagination, if I just left it like this, it's not overextended. It's just pretty standard, right? It's a standard kind of impulsive move, but it's very possible that crazy FOMO kicks in and makes this thing absolutely crazy overextended. So we should be open to the idea of many different things here for Cardano. But as soon as we get wave 3 and wave 4 in on this weekly chart, we'll have a pretty good idea as to where that final fifth wave is going, and obviously aligning our exit to all of that stuff as well. So guys, if all those sound good and you want to learn a little bit more about the various different things that we do in crypto, why not check out the Discord? As I said, links in the description down below. If you're looking for a little bit more around the strategies kind of stuff, the trading, check out the Patreon. That's also in the description down below as well. Guys, I'm going to leave the video there. If you have found it useful and informative, hit the like button. I really do appreciate that. If you happen to be new to the channel, why not go ahead and subscribe, tap the bell, select all notifications, and in doing so, you will be kept up to date with everything that we do here at Cheeky Crypto. With all that said, done, and out of the way, I hope everyone has a fantastic day, and I'll catch you all in the next one.